Number 15. Nails. A South Korean man, whose name was not released, was having headaches for years and finally had enough. He went to the doctors, and an X-ray revealed a 2-inch nail in his skull. The man had no idea how it happened either, but after recalling to when the headaches started, he remembers banging his head at work. The nail was removed, and a medic said it's a miracle he survived. WND wrote about a similar case as well, about a Californian man who was working with a nail gun on a construction job. He slipped, and when he fell, he hit the trigger. The nail gun was in automatic mode. The X-ray showed 6 nails in his head, which were all removed over the course of 5 days. Number 14. Scissors. Lin Kong had just finished a meal and was looking for a toothpick to clean his teeth. When one wasn't available, he used a pair of nail scissors instead. While performing this risky act, one of his friends told a joke so funny that Lin laughed and swallowed the scissors. He tried to cough them up, but that only made them go further down his throat. He was taken to the hospital, and a surgeon there said when he came in, his face was twisted, pale, and he was sweating. The doctors took an X-ray to verify this highly improbable claim, and what they found was the scissors had entered Lin's esophagus completely. They were only able to freeze the area, as putting him to sleep would have caused the scissors to go further down his throat. After only 30 minutes, the doctors were able to remove the scissors, and Lin Kong has since recovered. Number 13. Lots of cutlery. Margaret Dalman visited her local hospital in Rotterdam with complaints of a stomach ache. The doctors did an X-ray, and the reason for her stomach ache was pretty obvious. They found 78 pieces of cutlery inside her stomach. One medic said she seems to have been suffering from some sort of obsession, and every time she sat down for a meal, she would ignore the food and eat the cutlery. The team of doctors managed to remove all 78 pieces, and she made a full recovery. Margaret later said, "I don't know why, but I felt an urge to eat the silverware. I could not help myself." The doctors at the hospital had never heard of a person swallowing so many foreign objects. Number 12. Kitchen knife. Macy, a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, was the pride and joy of her owner, Irene Paisley, so she was very concerned when Macy started making strange noises, and Irene took her to a vet. X-rays were taken, and inside her stomach, they found an 8-inch kitchen knife. Irene said, "I couldn't believe it when they said Macy had swallowed a knife, because Macy swallowed the handle end first. It luckily didn't cause any of her organs to be pierced. Over the course of a night, the knife was removed by the vets, and she made a full recovery." Irene still doesn't know how Macy swallowed the knife in the first place, but her theory is out of the dishwasher. Number 11. A fork. An Israeli woman, whose name has not been released, was cleaning her home when a winged cockroach jumped into her mouth. Surprised by this, she accidentally swallowed the cockroach. What she did next doesn't seem very smart, but she was most likely in a state of panic. The woman stuck a fork down her throat to try and remove the insect. The idea was not successful, and she swallowed the fork as well. She went to a hospital, where an X-ray showed it lodged inside her stomach. Dr. Nicola Adid said, "This is the first time I've ever encountered anything like this. None of my medical colleagues in this country have heard of anything similar either." He was able to remove the fork, and later said the woman was recovering well. Number 10. Steel marbles and more. 8-year-old Haley Lentz was playing with a building set when pieces began falling out, which were steel marbles and magnets. Her parents were in the room, but didn't notice that she had swallowed them. After taking Haley to a hospital due to stomach aches, her parents would learn how serious this was. She had swallowed 20 steel marbles and 10 magnets, which caused 8 tears in her intestines. All of the toy pieces were removed by doctors, and Haley was released 2 weeks later. A doctor called her lucky to be alive. Her family is now pursuing the manufacturer to pull the toy from shelves. So far, Mega Brands has recalled 4 million of their magnetic toys. Number 9. A grenade. The story behind this entry is mostly speculative, but it's believed to be from Vietnam in 1966, rumored to be found in a vintage X-ray textbook. The grenade was lodged into his skull. The fate of this man is unknown, but his chances seem bleak. Number 8. Another kitchen knife. This 15-year-old boy, whose name was not released, was at the wrong place at the wrong time. He was with two friends at a bus stop when three strangers began hustling one of his friends, to which they stood up for themselves and didn't give them what they wanted. This resulted in a 5-inch kitchen knife sticking out of the boy's head. He was rushed to a hospital where this x-ray was taken and the knife was successfully removed, completely missing his brain. He has since made a full recovery and has moved forward in life. One of the strangers was caught while the other two have not been found. Number 7. A drill bit. Construction worker Ron Hunt was working on a ladder one day when he fell off and landed face first on a drill. Now this seems like a pretty unfortunate situation for Ron, but instead it's given him the nickname Miracle Man from his friends and family. The 18-inch drill bit was sticking out of his head when he arrived at the hospital. The x-ray shows how miraculous it was that Ron was still breathing, and doctors were able to remove it without resulting in any damages to the brain. They believe that the drill bit didn't push into the brain, but rather pushed it aside. Number 6. An arrow. Lu Chung, an 11-year-old, was practicing archery at school when he was hit by a teammate's arrow. The arrow went through his eye socket and didn't stop until it reached the back of his head. The doctors at the hospital had to cut a big chunk of the arrow off because he wouldn't fit in the CT scanner. The x-ray showed the 16-inch arrow was over 4 inches into Lu's head, but had completely missed his brain. Doctors spent over 4 hours removing the arrow, and it was a complete success. The doctors later said if the arrow had been shot with just a bit more force, it would have come out the back of his head. Lu is expected to make a full recovery, which one medic called a miracle. Number 5. An engagement ring. Simon Hopper had a plan to make some quick cash from a jewelry store. He entered Clockhouse Jewelry Shop and told the jeweler that his girlfriend just had his baby and he wanted to ask her to marry him. The jeweler showed him a ring and he turned around to grab 2 more. When he came back, the ring was gone. Simon told the jeweler he had already given it back to him, and after emptying his pockets, the jeweler believed he swallowed it. He denied this to police, but after an x-ray, he was caught red-handed. The police had to wait 3 days before they could recover it. Simon only received 12 weeks for his actions. Number 4. A key. 20-month-old Nicholas Holderman was playing with his 2 older brothers, Caleb and Isaac, in the family's living room when Nicholas tripped and fell. The parents, who weren't in the room, heard screaming and found Nicholas with a key in his right eye. Doctors at the hospital took an x-ray and found it had reached his brain. The doctors removed the key, and within 15 minutes his eyesight was back. His mother said, "I'll never forget that moment. Nothing can prepare you for something like that." Luckily, Nicholas had no long-term damage from what happened. Number 3. Yet another kitchen knife. It was a night of partying for 19-year-old Alex and his friends. They were outside a casino, about to head home, when an argument started with some strangers. Alex was knocked in the head with what he just believed to be a punch at the time. Instead, it was a kitchen knife, 12 inches in length. Doctors took an x-ray, and one of them later said that Alex was unbelievably lucky, which is very accurate. It had gone through his entire head to the point that it was poking out of the skin on the backside. Amazingly, Alex made it through this ordeal. The same doctor later told the Daily Mail the knife missed his eye, his skull, as well as the major arteries, veins, and nerves, which are tightly packed in that region. Number 2. A larger nail. Construction worker Patrick Lawler was working with a nail gun in the Colorado mountains when he used the tool on a piece of wood. What he didn't realize at that point was the nail gun backfired and a second nail had shot up into his mouth. Thinking it was just a toothache, Patrick waited 6 days before his wife convinced him to see a dentist. The dentist took an x-ray and was quite surprised to find a 4-inch nail lodged inside his mouth. He was taken to a hospital where, after 4 hours, the doctors were finally able to remove it successfully. And other doctors said, if you're going to have a nail in the brain, that's the way you want it to be. He's the luckiest guy ever. Before we get to number 1, my name is Chills and I hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you've ever been curious as to what I look like in real life, then follow me on Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT with underscores instead of spaces. I also have a Twitter at YT_chills where I post video updates. I'd really appreciate it if you followed me, and feel free to send me a DM if you have any questions or suggestions. If you'd like to see more of these videos in the future, then hit that subscribe button because we upload new countdowns every Tuesday and Saturday. Number 1. Surgical scissors. Pat Skinner was at Sydney's St. George Hospital for a procedure to have part of her colon removed. Afterwards, she was told it was a success and she was once again in good health. In the next days, she was in extreme discomfort, saying it hurt to stand, sit, or lie down. Over the next 18 months, she was told by doctors this was a normal part of recovery and to just give it time. Finally, she had enough and told her GP that she had fallen. The doctors sent her for an X-ray, and what they found would explain all the discomfort she had been feeling. Inside her abdomen was a pair of surgical scissors over 6 inches in length. She was taken back to the same hospital to have it removed, and once again, she was told it was successful and she was in good health. Pat is now seeking legal action for living a year and a half with a pair of scissors in her abdomen. Thanks for checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe because we upload new countdowns every Tuesday and Saturday. Or if you're still not convinced, here are some of our other videos that I think you'd like. Enjoy!